Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Pacemaker Cluster on SUSE or OpenSUSE, and in this episode we'll be discussing about cluster implementation requirements. So before starting with that, let me welcome you to my YouTube channel, that's Trich Tech Institute, and if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe to it so that you get notifications about upcoming videos. So in this episode we will be discussing mainly on the part 2, that is collecting the required parameters, whereas overview of each implementation process is already covered in our previous video. If you have not watched that yet, please go and watch it and then watch this part 2, and rest of the parts we will be discussing in our upcoming videos, where we will be saying discussing about expectations and then planning storage, then difference between 2 node and 2 plus n node cluster, then how you can design test cases and how you can conduct the testing and make the documentation ready. So let's start with the part 2, that is collecting the required parameters. So in collecting the required parameters, first thing we'll be seeing, like it consists of any cluster you build. It consists of many components working together, like your operating system, then your shared storage, then your cluster global configurations, and then cluster resources and applications. So operating system, shared storage means like same storage is being shared between the nodes. Then cluster global configurations like timeout values and all those things, and resources are nothing but whatever services you want to integrate with your cluster and applications. And then these components have interrelationships between themselves, like your application is dependent on your cluster resource or your resource is on storage. So you have to carefully plan to implement your cluster. Now, first thing, after you gather those things, those previous parameters, you go and have to collect about the local node configuration. So in local node you have operating system details like your operating system version and patch level, then local disk requirements. So here local disk means you can say like your root disk, and whether root disk will have any hardware rate configured, like RAID 0 for striping or RAID 1 for mirroring. Those information you need to have. Then you need to have the swap space and network information. In network information, like your IP address, route details, interface bonding configuration, host name, DNS resolution, all those information also you have to gather. Then you have to gather about time synchronization. So this is an important point in cluster, and all the nodes should be synced with your time server so that all of them are in same time zone and time level. Then you have to have information about local users, like these local users will be important for accessing the node, and also those local users will be part of your resource cluster resources. Like if you are suppose putting Oracle, you may have a user like Oracle or Ora user, Ora admin, something like that. So those information you should have. And also you should have about software pattern requirements, like what are patterns or software suspicions you need to install your required packages and applications. And also you need to have information about whether your local node is going to have a connectivity with a SAN hardware, and what will be the configuration about that. Now once you're done with local node configurations, you have to have a information about the shared storage configuration. So most of the cluster, it requires access to a shared storage, but again this is not something mandatory. You can skip this if your application or resource doesn't require a shared storage. Like if you are putting a SAP HANA cluster, so that doesn't require a shared storage, and SAP HANA has their own mechanism to do data sync between the nodes, so you need to have a shared storage in that case. And if you want to have a shared storage access, you can use either of these methods. Like you can go with a fiber SAN channel, and this is like a costly solution, and this is better with performance and all the access control and security, everything. But this is an enterprise solution and involves more cost. Whereas iSCSI you can have, so many iSCSI appliances are there which can share your share storage over network. So in that case You can have the iSCSI initiator configuration details or your multipathing driver details if you want to have iSCSI, or you can go with a software defined storage like SAFE. And then if you don't want to go that much complicated or costly solution, you can probably go with the network file share. So if you are going with the network file share like NFS or Samba, you should have the details about those shared storage and how to access them from your cluster nodes. And here one more thing you need to have, that is the storage credentials and access information. Credentials is required if you are going like with Samba storage, so there you need to have username, password details. So those credentials details you should have handy. Now once you're done with share storage, you have to have a details about your cluster configuration. So in your cluster configuration, first thing you need to have like how many nodes you are going to have in the cluster, whether it's a 2 node cluster or 2 plus n node cluster. So after having that information, you should have information about your fencing device configuration. It means what you will use, like whether ILO or some SBD disk, those information you should have. And if you want to have a secure crossing communication, so you should have the keys for that, and that is helpful if you are using multiple nodes and who are sharing the same network. Like here multiple nodes means multiple different cluster nodes. And then you should have information about the administration credentials, like what is the username, password to manage the cluster and all those things, and IP details for your cluster administration portal or whatever you want to do from the administration perspective. So those informations also you should have before proceeding with the cluster implementation. Now once you have information about your cluster configuration, you should focus on cluster resource configuration. Here like if you need to have any floating IP or virtual IP address for your cluster, that you need to collect. Then cluster resource group, what all resource you want to put in which group and what will be the order and all that information. Also you need to have a information, a clear picture about your constraints, like responsibility or interrelationship, like location constraint, like any resource particular should be running on particular node, or you should have some order, like first your file system should mount, then your application should start, then suppose your virtual IP should start. That kind of order if you have, that information you should be keeping handy before proceeding with the configuration. And also co-location, like suppose you have a virtual IP and your resource application resource, so both should be running on the same node, else both the resource will be up, maybe running from different nodes, your application will not be accessible. So in that case you should have a co-location constraint so that they both run on the same location. Also you should have information about application configuration files, their locations, their names and all, and whether application has any specific storage requirement like share storage and all, how much storage size, like 50 GB, 100 GB, that information you should keep handy. So once you are done with cluster resource configuration details, you should move ahead with application configuration details. Like here whether application hosted by cluster required any specific configuration to incorporate it with cluster. And then configuration can be application specific also, which you need to go and work with the application SME or expert, because you may not be able to know those things, so he can help you to integrate your application with cluster. Then you have to check application best practices for deploying on HA cluster, so that your cluster work as per the expectation. And also you need to see whether your application support multiple active nodes, so in that case it can work as a load balancing. Few connections will go to particular node and then rest of the connection will go to another node, so that none of the nodes are exhausted with overload. But many applications they don't support this thing, they will go with active passive, so you need to have that information and design accordingly. Then you check if the application has the option to make it cluster aware. So if this is not happening, it's very difficult, it will be to manage this application with cluster, or you may need to do some workaround to use it with cluster. And once you are done with this, you have to have a proper documentation about the configuration files, requirement for configuring resources, so that later if someone wants to refer, he can have a proper well documented details to manage the cluster. So once you are done with all these things, you can move to the next part, that is part 3, determine the expectation. So this we will be covering in our upcoming video. So thank you for watching this video. Please, if you like this video, please press the like button and share it to your friends and colleagues and family members, so that they can also watch it. If you don't like, that also fine, press the unlike button. You can use the comment section to let us know about your thought on these videos, so that we can improve our upcoming videos accordingly. So thank you, bye, have a good day.